friends, let us discuss one clinical case. An adult male patient, aged 48 years, weighing 71 kg, comes to you with the following chief complaints. 2 days ago, at night, he was waken up from sleep with a painful red swollen metatarsophalangeal joints. He is showing his leg to you. He also has history of mild fever since last 2 days. From the clinical judgment, you judge that he might be having gouty arthritis. So you go for examination and you check his serum uric acid level, which is 10 milligram per deciliter. Normally, it should remain between 1 to 4 milligram per deciliter. Above 4 milligram per deciliter, it starts gradually giving symptoms, and patient comes to you normally after 7 or 8 milligram per deciliter. So his uric acid level is 10 milligram per deciliter when he comes to you. So he is a case of gouty arthritis. Now on asking him, depending upon his ODP, he can be a case of acute gout or chronic gout. You might have understood that this session is basically on the treatment of gouty arthritis. Objective of this session would be to understand clinical features and types of gouty arthritis, salient aspects of drugs used in this therapy, and clinical management of a case of gouty arthritis. Now, as we have seen that he can be a case of acute gout or chronic gout. In case of acute gout, patient complains of sudden onset of severe inflammation of small joints, particularly metatarsophalangeal joint. Most common would be metatarsophalangeal joint of grade 2. The reason behind it is because of the precipitation of urate crystals in the joint space. The joint becomes red, swollen, and extremely painful, and this patient requires immediate treatment. Now, what is gouty arthritis? Gouty arthritis is a metabolic disorder characterized by hyperuricemia. Usually, as we have seen, that patient starts giving, this disease starts giving symptoms when the uric acid level moves beyond 6 milligram per deciliter. Normal plasma uric acid level is between 1 to 4 milligram per deciliter. Uric acid has got low water solubility, especially in acidic medium. So when plasma uric acid level moves beyond 4 milligram per deciliter, it slowly gets deposited, and if it is chronic case, it may precipitate and gets deposited in joints, kidney and subcutaneous tissue in the form of toffee, that is known as toffee. Now, what may be the reason of hyperuricemia when uric acid levels should go higher? It may occur because of certain food induced, alcohol, pulses, seafood, like high protein food, protein rich food, they may increase uric acid level, or it may be disease induced. When the patient especially is having leukemia, lymphomas or polycythemias, when patient is on either chemotherapy or radiotherapy, there will be more nucleic acid metabolism and it will result into more uric acid production. These cases are more uric acid producers. Or sometimes it may be drug induced, like certain drugs, they compete with the uric acid excretion through kidney, like thiazides, furosemide type of diuretics, pyrazinamide, ethambutol, anti-tubercular drugs, levodopa, aspirin, clofibrid, etc. Why I have underlined aspirin? Because NSAIDs are the drug of choice for gouty arthritis, but mind well, aspirin competes with the same plasma protein which excretes uric acid. So aspirin will compete with the uric acid excretion and may enhance uric acid retention. So aspirin is contraindicated in this case. Drugs used for gout, as we have already seen, there may be a case of acute gout or chronic gout. For acute gout, NSAIDs are the drug of choice except aspirin. Before NSAIDs were invented, colchicine was considered as the drug of choice, and those patients who are not responders to either NSAID or colchicine, last resort drug is obviously corticosteroids. For chronic gout, depending upon their pathophysiology, the patient may be either poor excretor or more producer. For poor excretors, uricosuric drugs are used, probenecid and sulfenpyrazone. For overproducers, synthesis inhibitor, uric acid synthesis inhibitor drugs like allopurinol, febuxostate or rasburicase can be used. Now let us first focus on acute gout. And drugs used for acute gout, drug of choice would be NSAID. Any strong NSAID can be preferred, maybe indomethacin, naproxen, piroxicam, diclofenac, etc. That is given in higher and quickly repeated dose. Response is obtained within 12 to 24 hours. It may be slower than colchicine, but it is better tolerated. That's why NSAIDs are considered as first drug of choice. When colchicine can be thought. Now, for understanding colchicine, let us see the pathophysiology. What happens in acute attack? In acute attack, there will be precipitation of urate crystals in the synovial fluid that will generate inflammatory response, and there will be migration of chemotactic factors, and there will be granulocyte migration into the joint. This granulocyte will try to phagocyte urate crystals, and as a result of phagocytosis, that will release glycoprotein. This glycoprotein is a pro-inflammatory mediator that will aggravate inflammation. So it's a vicious cycle. On the other hand, what happens? Because of inflammation, there will be more lactic acid production. This lactic acid will further cause the local pH acidic, and as we have already seen that in acidic medium, more and more urate crystals will be deposited. So that will aggravate gout. The role of colchicine. How colchicine works? We have seen that in acute attack there will be precipitation of urate crystals in the synovial fluid that will start inflammatory response, and there will be migration of chemotactic factors and granulocyte migration. So this is the rate limiting step. Colchicine will inhibit granulocyte migration towards the joint. So the further cycle is blocked. This granulocyte will not phagocyte urate crystals and will not release glycoprotein, and hence there won't be any aggravation of inflammation. So this step is blocked by colchicine. But colchicine is nowadays not preferred as a first drug of choice because dose required would be very high, and adverse effects are always dose related. At therapeutic doses, patient will complain of severe abdominal cramps. There will be watery or bloody diarrhea. If it is given in overdose, it may cause kidney damage, CNS depression, and intestinal bleeding. Death may be due to muscular paralysis or respiratory failure. This is all seen with the oral dose. On chronic use of colchicine, aplastic anemia, agranulocytosis, alopecia, myopathies, these are all seen. So it's not recommended routine. But even though it can be considered for acute gout when NSAIDs fail to give relief, it should be started 0.5 mg or 500 mg orally for 4 to 12 hours for 1 to 3 hours till patient gets benefit or diarrhea occurs. Maintenance dose is 500 mg per day, 0.5 mg per day for 4 to 8 weeks. IV colchicine produces less GI disturbance, but this is a chronic condition, or it's a patient for gouty arthritis patient would not go for IV colchicine. Corticosteroids can be considered as a last resort drug. It should be kept preserved, and especially intra-articular injection of soluble steroids, 10 to 40 mg of injection prednisolone intra-articularly. can be given. It is indicated only in refractory cases not responding to either NSAID or colchicine. So treatment of acute gouty arthritis, when a patient comes to you, that 48 years patient complaining of severe pain of the right metatarsophalangeal joint, his uric acid level was 10 milligram per deciliter. You have confirmed that he is a case of gouty arthritis. What should be given? Tablet indomethacin 50 milligram. You can choose piroxicam or diclofenac either. But if we stick to indomethacin, supply such 50 milligram 15 tablets, one tablet to be taken 3 times a day for 3 days. Mind well, 1 TDS for 3 days. Call your patient for follow-up to check for serum uric acid level. If it is gone down from 10 to say 7 or 6 milligram per deciliter, that means patient is responding to NSAID therapy. Then go further with endomethacin, one tablet to be taken twice a day for 2 more days, then one tablet once a day for 2 more days. So total 7 days therapy should be given with advice of more and more fluid intake so that it can be flushed out, and pulses and food to be restricted, obviously alcohol to be avoided. So this is for those who can respond well to NSAID. But what happens in other way? If after 3 days plasma uric acid does not come down, on the contrary, if you check for plasma uric acid level, it has gone up to 11.5 milligram per deciliter. That means patient is not responding to NSAID. So don't go further with endomethacin. Go for IV colchicine 0.5 milligram. Supply such only 3 tablets. One tablet to be taken at once and repeat every 2 hours till either pain subsides or stop if diarrhea occurs. If even after 3 tablets patient is still having hyperuricemia, then last resort drug should be intra-articular injection of steroid. Now that was about acute gout. Now what is chronic gout? When pain and stiffness persist in a joint between the attacks, it is said to be a chronic gout. Cardinal features: patient will have hyperuricemia 7 to 8 milligram per deciliter continuously. Tophi will be there, chalk-like stones under the skin, in pinna and eyelids, nose or around the joint. If we check for urate stones, it will be. So now depending upon the cause, either patient may be overproducers or poor excretor. Say for first, if patient is poor excretor, then uricosuric drugs will be given. Uricosuric probenecid is the drug of choice. It's a highly lipid soluble organic acid. It competitively alters the active transport of organic acid, especially at renal tubules. So secretion and reabsorption of particular organic acid is altered. You may have learned about penicillin. Like if it is given along with penicillin, it predominantly secretes from proximal tubules and reabsorbed minimal. It allows penicillin to be reabsorbed more. Probenecid gets secreted in place of penicillin, so more and more sustained blood level of penicillins are achieved. But in case of uric acid, probenecid gets largely reabsorbed and promotes excretion of uric acid. So plasma uric acid level goes down. This is the mechanism of action of probenecid in case of hyperuricemia. If we look to the adverse effects of probenecid, dyspepsia is the main. It should be used cautiously in patient having peptic ulcer. Sometimes rashes and hypersensitivity is seen. It is rare, but sometimes it is seen. In toxic doses, convulsions and respiratory failure may be noted. So it should not be given, injudiciously. It is used for the treatment of chronic gout and to increase penicillin's action. In case of chronic gout, 250 milligram twice a day for a week under NSAID cover. Whenever a patient of chronic gout comes to you, identify the patient as chronic gout. You have identified him as a patient of chronic gout, but treat him first as acute patient. So always start with NSAID, indomethacin, or any of the strong NSAID. Afterwards, slowly introduce either uricosuric or synthesis inhibitor drug. So in case of chronic gout, under NSAID cover, start 250 milligram twice a day for a week. Gradually increase the dose of probenecid, 500 milligram twice a day. Maximum it can be given 1 gram twice a day. Advise plenty of fluids. Make urine alkaline to prevent recrystallization of urate crystals in the urinary tract. NSAID cover is continued for 1 to 2 months. Probenecid should not be started alone in acute attack or even in chronic attack because it mobilizes urate crystals from the joint, so it can precipitate acute on chronic attack. So when a patient is diagnosed as a case of chronic gout, you should treat him as a case of acute gout and start with NSAID cover. Slowly after a week of NSAID cover, you make a space of urate crystals dissolved from the joint space. It may come into the plasma. So you make a space in plasma for the mobilization of urate crystals. Another is sulfenpyrazone. Sulfenpyrazone inhibits tubular reabsorption of uric acid and favors uric acid excretion. Same side effects are more GI upset, and it is contraindicated in peptic ulcer patients. It can be used for the treatment of chronic gout, mind well, obviously with NSAID cover. It should be started 100 milligram twice a day. Gradually, it can be given up to 800 milligram per day. Then we move on to other group, that is uric acid synthesis inhibitors. Those patients who are on either chemotherapy or drug therapy or radiotherapy whose uric acid production is more, they may be treated with uric acid synthesis inhibitors. Allopurinol is the older drug, that is hypoxanthine analog. It is xanthine oxidase inhibitor. Xanthine oxidase is the enzyme which is responsible for uric acid synthesis. Now what does xanthine oxidase do? Hypoxanthine gets converted into xanthine and xanthine gets converted into uric acid with the help of xanthine oxidase enzyme. Now what does allopurinol do? Allopurinol and its active metabolite alloxanthine inhibits xanthine oxidase enzyme, so resultant uric acid production will be altered or inhibited. That is the mechanism of action of allopurinol and alloxanthine. Side effects, if we look to the profile of adverse effects: hypersensitivity, rashes, fever, malaise, muscular pain. Sometimes patient may develop severe anaphylactic reaction and SJ syndrome. Apart from that, GI irritation, headache, nausea, dizziness is seen. It's very rarely can produce liver damage, especially in patients taking alcohol. This should not be given along with. In an alcoholic patient, allopurinol should not be thought of. It should be given with caution in case of pregnancy and lactation. In case of children, elderly and kidney damage patients, it should be given cautiously, and contraindicated in liver disordered patients, especially alcoholics, chronic alcoholics. It is used for chronic gout, for overproducers to control plasma uric acid level, secondary hyperuricemia due to cancer chemotherapy or radiation. Start with 100 milligram twice a day and gradually increase up to 300 milligram per day. Maximum we can give up to 600 milligram per day. Obviously under NSAID cover. Allopurinol or any uricosuric drug should not be given acute on chronic attack because they mobilize urate crystals, they precipitate acute attack of gout, so they should always be given under NSAID cover. With long-term allopurinol therapy, trophy disappears gradually and nephropathy also is halted or even reversed. Another use of allopurinol is Kala-Azar, or can be known as leishmaniasis. Allopurinol inhibits leishmania by altering purine metabolism. So it can be used as an adjuvant to sodium stibogluconate. That is, this sometimes can be asked in Viva, another use of allopurinol. Now, apart from allopurinol, there is another drug which is also having the same profile, xanthine oxidase inhibitor, that is febuxostate. That is having same or somewhat more efficacy to inhibit uric acid synthesis. But liver damage is more, has to be given cautiously in liver compromised patients, especially alcoholics. When we are putting our patient on febuxostate, we have to monitor liver function tests regularly. Side effects, same, vomiting, diarrhea and headache. It cannot be given to malignancy associated patients. It can be given in dose of 40 to 80 milligram once a day. Raspareccase is a newer drug, that is newer recombinant xanthine oxidase enzyme. This is itself is an enzyme that converts uric acid to soluble compound, and easily it makes the uric acid which is easily excretable. So it does not inhibit uric acid production, but it produces such uric acid which is easily excretable. It is soluble, it produces soluble uric acid. So it can be preferred for prophylaxis, especially to prevent cancer chemotherapy induced hyperuricemia in children. Now let us focus on drug therapy of acute gout. We have seen this patient, adult male patient, 48 years, 71 kg, comes to you with the following chief complaint. 2 days ago, he was woken up from night, from sleep, having red swollen right metatarsophalangeal joint. He also has history of mild fever since last 2 days. On examination, you have judged that this is a case of gouty arthritis. You looked for serum uric acid level and you found it to have 10 milligram per deciliter. So this is a case of. So for them, the treatment would be tablet indomethacin 50 milligram. You can start with piroxicam or diclofenac, but I would prefer indomethacin. So tablet indomethacin 50 milligram. Supply such 15 tablets. One tablet to be taken 3 times a day for 3 days. After 3 days, call your patient for follow-up. Check his uric acid level. If it has gone down from 10 to it has gone down to 7 or 6 milligram per deciliter, that means he is responding well to your indomethacin treatment. So go forward with your indomethacin treatment. One tablet twice a day for another 2 days, followed by one tablet once a day for another 2 days. So total 7 days therapy. One tablet 3 times a day for 3 days. If he is responding well, one tablet twice a day for 2 days, one tablet once a day for 2 days. With advice not to take alcohol, more fluid intake, and pulses in the food should be restricted. If at the follow-up you have found that same patient comes to you after 3 days, he has more red swollen joint, very painful, and his uric acid level is reported as 11 milligram per deciliter. That means he is not responding to your indomethacin therapy. So you will prefer tablet colchicine. 0.5 milligram, supply such only 3 tablets. Mind well, friends, only 3 tablets. One tablet to be taken at once and repeat every 2 hours till pain subsides. Ask the patient to be in your OPD. If after 3 tablets his pain is not subsided, or if diarrhea occurs, stop therapy and give him intra-articular injection of soluble steroid. This is the treatment for acute gout. Now let us consider a female patient, aged 34 years, weighing 60 kg, comes to you with the following complaints. 2 days ago at night, she was waken up from sleep with a painful red, swollen left metatarsophalangeal joint. She also has history of mild fever since last 2 days. Previously, when she had such attacks, she was given indomethacin, so she knows that indomethacin works. So she took over indomethacin on herself, 3 tablets of indomethacin, but there was no relief. She also gives history of hyperacidity and there is past history of peptic ulcer. She took indomethacin and she developed severe acidity. So now she has come to you that she cannot tolerate indomethacin. Now what to do? For such patients, if higher NSAIDs, indomethacin or piroxicam or diclofenac is not tolerable, for them you have to go for selective COX inhibitors, that is COXIBs. Tablet etoricoxib 60 mg, supply such 1 tablet to be taken at once. She can be considered as for more secretion. So probenecid 0.5 mg, supply such 20 tablets. Take 1 tablet to be taken twice a day. Follow up after 10 days. Call her for follow up after 10 days. Advice for more fluid intake and pulses in bad should be restricted. Obviously, she is a female patient, so we cannot ask her. Usually she would not be an alcoholic. So that is about drug therapy of chronic and acute gouty arthritis. Whenever there is a case of chronic gouty arthritis, mind well friends, you have to consider it as a case of acute gout. You have to start over with NSAIDs. Once after his or her uric acid level comes to normal range, say for 7 milligram per deciliter, slowly you introduce either uricosuric drug or synthesis inhibitor drug. So to summarize, what we have understood is types and clinical features of gouty arthritis, causes of hyperuricemia, certain foods, certain drugs also can lead to hyperuricemia. We have also discussed about salient aspects of drugs useful in this condition and drug therapy and advice for the patient suffering from gouty arthritis. That's all about gouty arthritis. Stay safe, stay home. Thank you.